वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतिरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दं माधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः गोविन्दाय नमो नमः गोविन्दाय नमो नमः I offer my humble and respectful obeisances unto all the lordships of Shiv Seva Sangha Mandir and all the Vaishnava devotees and all the senior devotees and all the devotees who are assembled here. I first of all thank you for the opportunity given to me, though I am a neophyte devotee in ISKCON. My seniors gave me an opportunity to talk about Krishna, so I am so thankful to them. For the past 2 days we have been seeing about the Leelas of Krishna in Gokul, how he was born and how he did his pastimes, like annihilating the demons. We saw about few of them. I am going to continue with that and how he went from Gokul to Vrindavana and how he carried out his pastimes with his Gopa friends in Vrindavana. When he was very small, at the very small age of few months, he killed Putana. Yesterday we saw it, right? Yesterday we heard about it from Bhakti Yoga Prabhu. And then he was attacked by another demon called Trinavata, who came in the form of a whirlwind. And such things, it was happening many a times in his life at the early stages of his life. And before going into that, I just want to share with you what are the effects, benefits that we would derive by hearing to these Krishna Katha. The first day Ananta Gauranga Das Prabhu was saying how important is hearing in the 9 processes of bhakti, right? Hearing is the first and foremost devotional service that we can offer to the Lord. The 9 processes of bhakti are sung by Narottama Das Thakura as Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Pada Sevana Dasyare Pujana Saki Jana Atmani Vedana Govinda Dasa Bilasare. So the first and foremost is hearing, okay, and then comes chanting, and then comes smaranam, that is remembering, and all those in the process. And hearing the glories of Krishna is very important because he confirms in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 18, text 71. I just want to read the sloka. Shraddhavan anusuyasya cha shrunuyad api yo naraha so api mukta shibal lokan prapnuyad punya karmanam. That means one who hears the glories of the Lord, he says he is destined to come back to him, and he will be like delivered from all kinds of sinful reactions, and he'll go to the planetary systems, auspicious planetary systems, where the pious dwell. This is the meaning of the sloka, and therefore we are assembled here to hear about the glories of Krishna, since he himself is confirming that. And he also says in 18th chapter, in many chapters he says that devotional service is the topmost important in this lifetime, and that is the and chanting the glories of Krishna and saying the names of Krishna, or the Yuga Dharma of Kali Yuga. And he also says, Sarva Dharman Paridyacha Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshisyami Masucha. Abandon all kinds of religion and surrender unto me. I am going to deliver you from all sinful reactions, and I am going to take you back to my world. Do not fear, he is saying. And so we are trying to remember him during the month of this month of Kartik or Damodara, wherein our devotional services, whatever devotional services we do, are going to be multiplied by 1,000. Like we get 2x points, 20x points when we spend our money during certain times, during Christmas or during the Boxing Day or such times. We get double the points when we spend, right, in shops. And similarly now when we do devotional service, we are getting 1000x points. Okay, so therefore we are trying to do some devotional service from our side. And when we talk about Lord Krishna, when he was small, like at the age of walking, when he started walking, the gopis and Mother Yashoda would ask him to go and get a wooden plank, and they would ask him to bring certain articles like wooden plank. And Nanda Maharaj, when he wanted to offer his prayers to Lord Narayan, he would ask Krishna to go and get his wooden shoes. And Mother Yashoda would say, go and get me the wooden measuring pot. When he is asked to bring such articles, little Krishna would run to get those articles, and some articles which are a little huge for his size, he would pretend as if he cannot carry them, as if they are so heavy for him. And he would go near the article, he would touch the article and he would strike the body and say and show the gopis as if he is very strong. And the gopis would laugh at him and would offer him some sweet meat, and he would always agree for their biddings, and he would immediately ready to serve them. That is the attitude of Krishna. Krishna and these gopis are now reaping the benefits of their devotional services. They have been doing millions and millions of births, and therefore he is easily attainable by the devotees. Big yogis and those who are trying to understand his impersonal form cannot be easily attained by him or understood by him. But for the devotees, he is easily attainable, and he can easily be pleased. And he would also try to serve a devotee, serve the servant of a devotee too. He is so happy with them. And one time in Gokul, fruit vendor came with fruits in the basket, and she was calling out people to buy fruits. And Krishna, when he heard it, he pretended as if he wanted some fruits, and he took some grains in his hands, little hands, and started running towards her. With his little hands, he could only grab a little of grains, and this he has seen from his parents, bartering different articles for the grains. He has seen from his parents, and he thought he has to exchange something for getting the fruits. So when he was running, on the way he dropped most of the grains, and when he reached the fruit vendor, he had few grains in his hands, and the fruit vendor was so pleased, and she was like melting, her heart was melting with love for Krishna, and she immediately took the grains from him and she offered many fruits as his hands could hold. Okay, Krishna was so happy and pleased, and when the fruit vendor turned towards her basket, she saw her basket was filled with gold, pearls and all precious gems. And this is the way Krishna reciprocates for the love we exchange with him. So therefore, this is one of the pastimes he had in Gokul. And what happened, like few days passed like that, and then the elderly cowherd men assembled one day, headed by Nanda Maharaj, and they wanted to discuss about the disturbances being caused throughout their stay in Gokul. And one of the senior cowherd men named Upananda, he's a matured person in knowledge and age, and in Srimad Bhagavatam it is stated that he is brother of Nanda Maharaj. And he suggested, he wanted to suggest something, and all the cowherd men agreed for that, because he is a capable person who can take right decisions depending upon the time, place and circumstance. And so what he suggested was, we have been facing so many calamities, and the little Krishna is targeted every time. So many asuras are coming to attack Krishna, like Putana, Trinavata, and another pastime that will be shared by one of our devotees in a later date. Krishna was once tied by Mother Yashoda to a wooden grinding motor. And when he wants to, there is a circumstance that he has to deliver two people, Nalakuvera and Manigriva, and they will be in the form of trees. And when he goes in trees, the two trees will be like that. When he goes in between, the motor will be falling in the direction that hits the trees, and from the trees, two people will come out, Nalakuvera and Manigriva, and they will be delivered. And this incident also caused people to, like cowherd men, to get frightened, because Krishna was saved. Every time, Upananda says Krishna is every time saved by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore this is not a suitable place for us to live. It's better to move away from here. And he says there is a place between Mahavan and Nandeshwar called Vrindavan. This place would be suitable for us because it's lush with green grass and lots of plants, forests, mountains, and Giri Govardhan is there, which can cater to the needs of the cattle and the animals which was living with them. And it's better to go there and continue our living there safely, for the safety of Krishna Balaram. And cowherd men agreed for the proposal, and they started acting on that immediately. They sorted out their household affairs, they packed their clothing, and they got their cows, calves and all other animals ready, and they took the blessings of their priests and seniors, and they started out in their bullock carts. And when they were going, Mother Yashoda and Rohini were in one cart. They were well dressed, beautifully dressed, and they were talking about Krishna and enjoying the pastimes of Krishna and Balarama. And they were going like that. And when they were nearing Vrindavan, Krishna and Balarama saw the banks of river Yamuna, and they saw Giri Govardhan, and also they saw the forests and all the other sceneries of Vrindavan, and they were so pleased, and they were talking in a broken language. They were exchanging their joy to their parents in their broken language, and they were so pleased by hearing such beautiful words from Krishna and Balarama. And they reached there and they started living there, like they said their household, and they started living there in Vrindavan. And a few days later, like within a short time, Krishna and Balarama were old enough to take care of their calves, and therefore they set out for tending the calves. Okay, and like they always like go to a place just that is not so far from their residence with their paraphernalia, with their playthings, and they go with their calves and their Gopa friends. The kind of play was like they throw stones and ropes on trees to make the fruits fall, and they will cover themselves like bulls and do the bullfighting. And they would play with their ankle bells jingling football with fruits like bear and amalki, and they will make voices like other animals, and they'll imitate the voices of animals, and this is how they were spending their time and tending the calves. And the Gopa friends were also enjoying their time with them. After all, they are big devotees of the Lord from many births. And they had the chance of touching Krishna and then playing with him and all those. And time was passing like that, and one day Krishna was tending the calves. Krishna and Balarama were going for tending the calves, and in the middle, a calf entered into the group of other calves. It was a demon, okay, and Krishna showed his eye to Balarama, saying that this calf is not a normal calf, it's a demon he showed. And that demon was named Vatsasura, and he came to harm Krishna. And Krishna was like, what he did, he silently went behind the calf and pulled his hind leg with the tails, pulled him so hard that the demon was dead. Till that he pulled the calf so hard, and then he threw up high in the sky. And it reached the top of the Capita tree and it fell down with the body of the demon. And all cowherd boys were so surprised to see that, and they appreciated Krishna. Well done, Krishna, well done, very good, very good. You saved us from the great fear of this demon. And the denizens of heaven, other higher planetary system, the other gods, they showered flowers on Krishna, and they were also so pleased to see the way Krishna killed that demon. And it was like that, and after a few days what happened, Krishna was, as usual, his regular routine was to get up in the morning and collect his Gopa friends and go with them to the forest for tending cows, in the name of tending cows, to play with his playmates. And they play some games, like they throw the lunch bags, whatever they bring from home, they throw it to each other, and they just steal the boxes, steal the baskets of some of the Gopas, and one of the Gopas, and they throw to a Gopa who is so far. And when the proprietor of this box, of this lunch carrier, would feel so disturbed and anxious to get his bag back, and when he is disappointed, they would all laugh at him and then they give him back, and this way they were playing. And one day, after tending the cows, they took the cows to a reservoir of water, and the calves drank water, and they came out of the reservoir. And now the boys, all the cowherd boys, and Krishna and Balarama also went to drink water. Just beside the water reservoir, they saw a huge structure that is depicting the size of a mountain peak. It seemed as if the mountain peak is smashed by a thunderbolt, and it has fallen there, the massive body. And they were so scared to see that. That was so frightening to them all. And it is a demon by name Bhagasura. Bhagasura is the name of the demon, and he was a duck-shaped demon with sharp beaks. And he was waiting for Krishna to come. He wanted to swallow Krishna. And when Krishna came out, he opened his mouth and he just caught hold of Krishna, and he swallowed Krishna. And when Krishna was swallowed, Krishna, who is the Lord, who is the father of Brahma, who went into the mouth of this demon, he became like fire. And he burned the throat of the demon. And immediately the demon couldn't bear the heat of the heat that was produced in his throat, and he disgorged the Lord. And when the Lord came out safe, when the demon saw him so safe without getting affected, he got very furious and was trying to attack Krishna. When the demon was enduring to kill Krishna, what he did, he took he caught hold of the halves of the two halves of the beaks of the demon, and he bifurcated the demon, and the demon fell dead there. And when the cowherd boys saw this, actually when they saw the demon trying to kill Krishna, they were like speechless and they were getting unconscious. And when they saw him having killed the demon, they were so happy, and they came and embraced Krishna in the mode of goodness and with pure consciousness. And now the people the demigods, all the gods from the other higher planetary system, they showered mallika flowers and they blew the kettle drums, and they were playing musical instruments for pleasing Krishna, and they were singing the glories of Krishna. And when they came back home, they declared the people of Vrindavana that this demon, one demon came in the middle of their tending calves, and then what happened, they told the Vrajavasis, and the Vrajavasis couldn't take their eyes off Krishna. They were overwhelmed with surprise and shock, and they were not knowing how it all happened. And they again said that they were feeling that it is Krishna, it is the Supreme Personality who saved him. And they didn't know that Krishna himself is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He never showed. And he was just like a human child and with extra powers. And so the days were passing like that. And next is the killing of another demon, Aghasura. A few days passed, and he was tending the cows, and when he was when they were coming back, they saw a big snake. Actually, a demon, this Aghasura is a younger brother of Putana and Bagasura. He was so outraged with anger because this little boy killed both of his brother and sister, and so he wanted to, he was thinking that I should kill this boy, all the calves and also these gopas I should kill, so that the Vrajavasis would lose their lives, because this Krishna and Balarama are the center of attraction in Vrindavana, and they are the ones who are giving pleasure to the Vrajavasis. Now, if we kill them, then the whole of Vraja would die. So I should, that way I can pay my regards to my brother and sister who were killed. And thinking so, he assumed the form of a python. A python with the body as big as a mountain and the length equivalent to 8 miles distance. And in this great body he was lying, and his mouth he opened, and the lower lips were touching the ground and the upper lips were touching the clouds on the sky. And it looked as if the borders of the mouth were looking as if the sides of a cave, and the middle of the mouth was so dark, and the center was seeming like a highway, traffic highway. And his eyes were blazing like fire, and the breeze breathe was like warm air. And when the Gopas saw this structure, they thought it's a great scenic spot made for their pleasure, pastime. And so when they neared that, when they neared the mouth of that demon, they were not knowing what to do. They were stuck actually, 1 minute stuck, and they were thinking, is this a real snake or a snake which is like just made like artificial for our pleasure? And when they were talking, they just entered into the mouth of the demon. Krishna was coming from behind, and he was like, he couldn't consider what to do, like how to organize this and how to say the friends not to go in, and because he was knowing that it is an asura and coming to having come to attack the cows, calves and his friends. And before he could say anything, these children went into the mouth of the demon, and they walked straight into the highway traffic, and they went into the abdomen of the python. And you know, the python was still waiting for Krishna to enter in, because his target is to finish off Krishna. So he was waiting, and when Krishna was struck and he wanted to make an intelligent decision to kill the demon and at the same time bring back his friends. So he was thinking what to do, and he couldn't think anymore because they have already gone in. And when he entered into the mouth of the demon, all devatas from other planets, they were behind the clouds and they were crying, alas, alas. And so like when he heard them crying, alas, alas, what he did is, like immediately he understood the danger, though he knew it before. Now he started enlarging his body so big that the body of the demon also started becoming big in size. And the demon couldn't grow bigger than that, but Krishna was growing bigger and bigger in the mouth of the demon, and the eyes of the demon started rolling around and it popped out, and the whole body started like suffering so hard, and he wanted to leave his life air, but he didn't have any outlet to leave his life air. So he was struggling so hard to leave the life air, and finally through a hole on the head he left the life air. Krishna waited for the entire life air to go out, and after it went out, what Krishna did is, he saw his friends dead. He gave them all life immediately, and then he was trying to come out of the body of the demon, and when the life air went from the body of the demon, there was a glaring light, light illuminating all directions. And the light started going up in the sky, and it stayed there, waited there for Krishna to come out. When Krishna came out of the mouth of the demon, the body of the demon, immediately the light came and merged with the body of Krishna. This is a kind of liberation. It's a kind of liberation that is not attainable to materially contaminated beings. But Krishna gave this liberation to such a miscreant like this Asura, Aghasura, and Sarupya liberation. This is called Sarupya liberation, and this was Krishna is so magnanimous that he could give such a liberation to a bad miscreant like this. And actually, when this was done, this annihilation of the demon was done when he was 5 years of age. And about this annihilation, the Vrajvasis were made to know about it only a year later. It is because of a reason that another Asura came in the middle. Not an Asura, sorry, it's not an Asura, but when it was declared to the public only 1 year later. Let me tell you why is it. And after the Asura was annihilated, they started going with the cows to a place where near the river bank, and Krishna said this would be the right place for us to have our lunch. So what they did, they started having their lunch together. Krishna sat in the middle like a whirl in the lotus flower, and like petals, other gopas were sitting, and they were trying to like exchange the preparations, whatever their parents have given to them. And Krishna was accepting from everyone, tasting their preparation and enjoying it. And he was having yogurt rice and with the fruits, like and then he was having it. And about the gopas, when I want to say, like they were dressed up beautifully by their parents, but whenever they come into the forest, what they do is they decorate themselves with like forest flowers, and then like they blow their flute, and then they decorate themselves with leaves and all those, and they were looking so beautiful. And when they want to have food, they used to have the leaves as their plates, flower tops as their plates, and they used to keep on the rocks and eat. This is how like they were eating. And they were after exchanging of food, like when they were having it, like the cows and calves were grazing, and they went near the lush green grass was attracting them, was so attracting that they went into the forest. The calves started going into the forest out of sight from the gopas and Krishna and Balarama. And when the calves were not seen, gopas were little anxious about their safety, and they said, oh, we have, and they wanted to stop eating and they wanted to go in search of the calves. Krishna said, no, don't stop now, you just continue eating. Let me go and find out where they are. And he started out looking for the calves with the yogurt rice in hand. With one morsel of yogurt rice in his mouth, he went looking for the calves. And when he started searching, he couldn't find them. For the satisfaction of the gopas, he went up the hill and he went into the forest and all and searched, but he couldn't find them. So he thought, okay, let me share this to my friends. And when he came back, he didn't find any of his friends there. Cowherd boys were missing. And Krishna was not knowing what to do and how to search for them. And by his internal potency, he could understand that it is Brahma who has taken away the calves and the friends. Because when Aghasura was annihilated, the denizens of heaven would make a big festival, like playing their kettle drums and then playing their music. Gandharvas will be singing about the glories of Krishna, and Brahmanas will be saying the Vedic hymns and all those. And Brahma would be little he would be astonished to hear the great sounds, like Jaya Jaya sounds will come, and then what is this jubilation for? So he comes out of his planet and he comes down to earth to see, and he would be so astonished to see the glorification of the Lord. Okay, so now he would think, who is this powerful boy? Let me show my power to him and let me see how powerful he is, he would think. And in such a mood, he would have stolen the calves and also the cowherd boys. Having seen everyone missing, Krishna immediately expands himself into all those calves and the boys. And the structure would be exactly in the same, he would have the same capacity as each of the gopas in their forms. And he would go back, like they all would go back home. And the parents, when they see the gopas coming with the calves, when they hear them coming, the jingle bells will be, the bells will be, anklets will be ringing and all those, right? So they will, they'll just leave their household chores, and out of love, they come and immediately embrace their children, and then they would feed them with breast milk. This is what Bhagavatam says. Out of love, their breast milk will be flowing, and they would be allowing the children to take the milk. And Krishna, in their forms, he would enjoy the milk for the satisfaction of their respective mothers, and the love for Krishna generally, like previously also, gopis were having more love for Krishna than their own children. Now Krishna being their child, there is no distinction between their child and Krishna, because Krishna himself is their child now. So they were loving him even more, and this love was exhibited. And for a year, this kind of love for the cowherd boys was increasing, and also for the calves. And the calves, when they came in, the cows who were waiting in their homes, they were also full of love for their children, because they are also Krishna, and they were feeding the calves with their milk in their bags. And this way the love was getting more and more every day. And Krishna and Balarama observed it. Balarama observed it, and he was wondering, what is this kind of thing happening? Is it by any god or any demoness who's doing all these, like increasing of love for the cowherd boys and the calves? But with his transcendental potency, he could understand that Krishna is in all their forms. Okay, so now Balarama would ask Krishna, before this happened just 4 or 5 days before the year would pass. Balarama asked Krishna, what is happening here? I see you are manifesting in all these gopas and in the calves. What is happening? Can you please tell me? I'm bewildered. And now Krishna would say what happened. Like he explained Balarama about what happened, and Balarama understood that, and he was he accepted it, and he was waiting to see what is going to happen next. And it was just a moment for Brahma to go to his planet and have with the gopas. And he put them all to sleep by his mystic powers, and he would just look what is happening in Vrindavana. By the time 1 year would have passed in the planet Earth, and when he sees down, he would see the same calves and boys and everyone, whomever he thought he has stolen, are there already with the Vrajvasis. And he would wonder what is happening. He would try to match what is with him with what is available. They would be identical, and so he wouldn't be able. He was bewildered, and he would try to he has mystic powers. He's the boss of mystic powers, right? So he would think, oh, I am the most mystic person, and what is happening to me? What is happening here with Krishna? And when he looks, now Krishna would remove the screen curtain of Yogamaya, and he would show to him what has happened. And he would see all the calves and the boys as 4 Narayana forms in the brain, like a cloud, a bluish cloud color, and children all wearing yellow silken garments, and Shankha Chakra Gada Padma structures, like all of them holding the conch shell and Gada, Padma, and all the 4 things with Krishna. And now he will realize it is like a small child trying to show his magical tricks to a magician. The child will know a very little, And when they try to show it to a magician, it is going to be just nothing. There is no value. It is like Bhagavatam gives two analogies, like a glowworm, when it comes in light, there is no value for the light. So also, a toy toy in front of the village deities, they don't have any value. These clay dolls doesn't have any value, right? So also is the magical trick or the mystic power of Brahma in front of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the most mysterious person. And when he sees that, he would really like, all his senses would be jolted, and he would come in front of Krishna, and he just falls onto the lotus feet of Krishna, and he starts begging like, he will cleanse the feet of Krishna with his tears of joy and ecstasy, and he would pray to Krishna, and he would ask for his pardon that he has done a mistake. And now the calves and cows, he would return back and all like become like the original, and they all go back now to their homes. Now they would go to say their parents about the annihilation of the demon Aghasura. By now the Aghasura's body would have dried up, and the skin would have become like a great place to visit for the Vrajvasis. They would all come around to see the skin of like a scenic spot, as they were thinking before. That becomes a scenic spot for the Vrajvasis to come and have a look at it. Now I have some more to continue, but we are in, like, we need to complete, I need to complete it here, so that we'll go with the next part of the program. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.